Thank you, Rosie. We will start discussing Hamilton Heights. I'm sorry, Hobson Heights, and one more property. The Hobson Heights project. It's a older project. It had already been approved through the planning commission, and because it is a older development, I wanted to bring it back to the community so that we can see the final plans, and if there's any concerns, we can share them prior to it reaching the council floor. Um, Rosie, if you will give them the sharing rights, and we can begin with the presentation.
I have done so.
Hobson Heights. Good afternoon. This is Danny Womble with Womble Associates. Can everyone hear me okay?
It's not very loud, Danny.
Okay. Should we turn the volume up? Microphone.
If you all are speaking, I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Much better.
Great, great. Well, thank you. We will get the plan back up on the screen. So this is Hobson Heights preliminary SP. It has its main frontage is on Hobson Pike, and it on the back or close to the top of the screen, it has frontage on Mount View Road. On the right side of the plan, the existing community is Long Hunter Chase. On the left side of the development, the existing community is Kensal Green. So this project has already been approved by the Planning Commission, and it's approximately 30 acres. It's 232 units. The request is to rezone from agricultural and RS15 to a mixed residential SP. In this plan, there are 4 different districts with 4 different unit or building types, all being residential. The first district is up by Mount View Road, and it's in that yellow color, and it is a traditional residential subdivision, single family subdivision. In District 1 are 54 lots. They're 50-foot wide lots on public streets. Streets will all be standard 50-foot right-of-way Nashville standard street section with sidewalks. The lots will be 50 feet wide. Front setbacks will be 20 feet. Side setback 5 feet. Rear setback will be 10 feet adjacent to open space or buffering, 20 feet if there's no open space or buffering behind the lot. The height of the buildings allowed would be 3-story. District 2 is the next district down from the yellow. District 2 is 22 single family homes. And these single family homes in this district will also be allowed to have an attached or a detached accessory dwelling unit on the rear of the lot. behind the principal primary home. These lots are 50-foot wide. Front setback is 10 feet. The side setback is 5 feet. The rear setback would be 5 feet off of an alley. All of the access for most of these lots is from an alley. The third district, which is that dark brown color, the next district down towards Hobson Pike, is 58 multifamily units. These are 21-foot wide townhomes with rear entry from an alley into 2-car garages. The setbacks on the front are 10-foot minimum, 20-foot maximum. The rear setback is 5 feet from the alley and can't be greater than 15 feet. The height are 3 stories. Then the fourth district down by Hobson Pike is 76 townhomes. These are 16-foot wide townhomes with surface parking at the rear of the units. The front setbacks are minimum 10 feet, maximum 20 feet. The rear setbacks are 8 feet from the parking area. The allowable height of the units is 3-story. So this project is in the Antioch-Priest Lake Community Plan District. The policy is T3, suburban neighborhood evolving. As we said before, it's already gone through Planning Commission. Planning Commission found everything to be consistent with the policy requirements. And it's been through all of the engineering departments that have reviewed the fire system, the stormwater system, the water service, sanitary sewer, public works, traffic and parking, and those elements of the plan have all been reviewed and recommended approval by all of these engineering staff. So with that brief introduction, then I will be glad to answer any questions.
Do you have renderings of the dwellings to show your different elevations that will be offered?
Yes. This exhibit shows the architectural character images that was presented to the Planning Commission and was considered when they approved the project. This was designed and prepared before Jason got involved, but this is going to be the character that's required on the architectural design of the elevations of each of the units. So the 2 on the top are in the District 1, which is the traditional single family. Then one's below that has a 2 on it, that's District 2. And then down from that says multifamily, that's the District 3. And then the 2 on the bottom are District 4. So that's the character images for all 4 districts on this sheet. And Jason, if you want to add something about what you plan to build, you're welcome to chime in.
Well, I'm just thinking on. I'm sure people want to know kind of the price range that we'll be doing here. The townhome sections. I'm thinking we'll probably be starting at 350, probably going to 450. And as far as the single family goes, I would say those are probably going to start about 400, and those may hit 600.
Okay. So based off of the renderings here, I'm gonna, I'll be honest. If we're looking at section 2, I do not like that third unit. It looks, it does not mirror the homes that are currently in this area, and it's not aesthetically appealing. And if we're building, I want us to enhance what we see currently in our community. So I don't like that third rendering. Regarding the townhomes, will there be masonry options on these? My
It'll be,
concern for the townhomes, one, there's very little appetite for townhomes in our community. And so if we're going to present this to the community, I would like for us to have masonry options on those units that are, especially the units that are street facing or right there, because as people are passing through our community, that's the first thing that they see. And so I would really like for us to have more than what's presented here.
are you okay with, I mean, everybody has different definitions of masonry. Masonry usually includes hardy board and brick. So I'm thinking all these units are hardy board and brick. There shouldn't be any vinyl siding except for on the soffits, I think.
So if we can do hardy board and brick, I would absolutely love that. I am not a supporter of vinyl siding.
It's kind of dead at this point and everywhere, so I don't think we have a problem with that.
So let me go back to District 2 with that third image. What that third image is the detached accessory dwelling unit that is behind the primary unit off of the alley. And what it represents is the garage on the alley with an accessory unit built above the garage. So this isn't going to be a street view like the other images. It's the alley view.
One of the biggest problems right now in housing is people, the price of housing is skyrocketed and everybody is needing, their kids, they're moving back home for a little while so they can save enough money to get out, and buy their own. So this has kind of become a, solution to a problem that's been around for a couple of years now, having this accessory unit.
I'm sorry, I'm in the chat. I'm trying to access the questions. Bear with me, everyone. Okay, so Larry got a few questions. Larry would like to know how much brick will be offered on these structures. Um, he also wants to know, do you guys have any similar communities in the area? And let's see, what's the other question? Um, let's see. As the president of Long Hunter Chase HOA, I would like a meeting scheduled with announcements of the full HOA. So Larry, I don't, because this is where this is potentially positioned, it's going to be between your community and mine, and so I'm absolutely open to that. And I'm pretty sure that our HOA at Kensal Green will want to be involved as well.
This is Crystal. I've got a question. Why is there only 2 ways to get in and out of this community? Why isn't it connected into Kensal Green? You're creating some bottlenecks there for all of those cars.
Danny, you can
Well, so
probably address
previously when
that.
this was presented, the Kensal Green community did not want this connected, and because there were multiple interests, NDOT agreed to not connect the road. However, it is NDOT wish to connect all the communities going forward.
I'm just concerned about something like what happened last week. You've got a bottleneck for not only cars coming in and out, but you've got a serious bottleneck for emergency vehicles going in and out of this community right now. You could have some serious issues if something were to happen and you could not get emergency in.
Okay, so I hear you and I acknowledge everything that you're saying. In previous meetings prior to my position as council member, it was asked that this road was not connected, and so the developers presented a layout without the road being connected. And I'm looking in the chat. Long Hunter Chase does not want road connection to our community. Already too much through traffic in our community. Let's see. I have Wanda. Wanda's concern is the additional traffic on Mountain View is already saturated and a very narrow road. What changes will happen to Mountain View Road? So I'm working on myself. I'm working with NDOT in regards to what we can do to this area of Mountain View, because we know that is a cut through, going through, the Somerset community.
And if I might add, Councilman Harrell, this is Danny Womble again. One of the things that planning was interested in us doing in the design of this project was to provide another public road connection between Mount View Road and Hobson Pike, and this development did that. We made it a little bit disjointed with the stop conditions so that it wouldn't be a cut through, but that was a traffic concern that they asked us to design to comply with their request, which we did. So this does give another connection from Mount View to Hobson Pike.
You also have A-cell, D-cell lanes going out onto Hobson Pike, because I'm not necessarily seeing those on your plans.
The Planning Commission approval was to include the conditions from Public Works. And the plan does show a left turn lane, and the traffic study that we did recommended a decel right turn lane, but in Public Works conditions, they requested that they didn't think the decel right turn lane was needed. So they put a condition on the plan that a $75,000 funds in lieu of be paid to Metro Public Works to be used somewhere else in the community for traffic improvements in the community. And the developer agreed to that.
When was this approved by the Planning Commission?
February the 11th of 2021.
So February 11th of 2021. So you've been sitting on this for almost 4 years. Why?
Well, because Councilmember Lee would not move it forward to Metro Council.
Okay. And we don't want it, 4 years later. So Councilmember Harrell, we feel strongly about this plan. Nothing has changed. And frankly, I don't even know how this managed to get through the Planning Commission. But we certainly do not want this to be brought to council or approved by council.
Okay, Larry. So can you give me your concerns on the floor right now?
Sure. My concerns are the detention areas, the stormwater from this parcel. This parcel also has some underground caves. It has cedar glades. It has some very delicate environmental factors that apply to it. The condition of Mount View Road, there has been a tremendous amount of building along Mountain View Road over the past 10 years with no road improvements. And, basically what Mountain View Road is a 100-year-old cow pasture that has been paved. The underlying road structure is not sufficient, and the lane structure is not sufficient. I've not heard anything as to how this community would improve the lifestyles of those that already have homes in the area. Also, this is the very first community that I've heard of outside of the downtown core of Nashville that is proposing detached accessory dwelling units. Where did that come from, and how did that get approved? I'm just, I'm flabbergasted that this is coming forward, and I just have some severe reservations. Also, I never got the answer to my question about who is the builder.
Old South Properties will be buying the lots.
They would be buying the lots.
Yes.
Okay. So if I went to the Old South community under construction directly across from Antioch High School, I could see the types of homes that you're proposing for Section 1.
You would probably see some of those plans, but there would be other plans. I mean, that we build a wide variety of product all over Middle Tennessee.
Okay. So where would I see Section 2 with the data units?
Talking about the ones with the accessory units on the back.
Yes, sir.
I've never built those before, so that would be something new that we've never done.
And this was approved by the Metro Planning Commission with the prospect of detached accessory dwelling units in District 8.
Yes, it was, because the suburban neighborhood evolving policy encourages a mix of residential building types. And this was a type that planning staff encouraged us to use on this project.
Well, you've thrown everything at this project in terms of, you know, uh, different types of housing units. So you seem to have checked all those boxes, but we certainly, Councilmember Harrell, we do not currently want detached accessory dwelling units. Um, Wanda Nelson had to live with that a couple of years ago, right, Wanda?
Yes, and as Larry was saying, is that what you'll have is someone else renting that property out. So, and then your streets will be flooded with several different cars. We had someone decided that they want to add a detachable trailer to the back of their home, and it looks like it was a meth head, and that that alone, detachable, it really raised a lot of red flags.
Okay, I received that, and we will discuss when I meet with them after our call tonight. Um, okay, so Larry, you gave me a lot of information. Is there any other feedback in the community before I ask a few questions?
One other thing is, if we want to do
Larry, are you there?
I'm sorry, I clicked mute. I suggest we hold a meeting of Long Hunter Chase, Kensal Green at the Smith Springs Community Center to fully vet this, because it was certainly not clear to me from the announcement of this meeting the project we were discussing.
Councilman, I'd also like to make a comment because of our meeting on Monday. You had talked about keeping to 6-foot side setbacks. They're talking only 5-foot.
It'll actually be a set of 10. It's 5 on each. 6 is the minimum, and they're doing a 10. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
That's correct.
I'm still concerned about fire hops if there were ever to be a fire in here.
It was reviewed by Metro Fire Department and they recommended approval.
Thank you for that information. What's the total number of homes? So I had questions regarding section 4, I believe, because those are the ones that have additional parking. For that area, what will be the projected amount of parking for this area?
2 per unit plus a few extra for visitors.
Okay, and is that the parking, will that be like parking on the street or like a private drive, essentially?
The primary parking for the units will be private drive parking at the rear of the units. There will be some on-street parallel parking that would be available for visitors.
Okay, all right, and for the yellow section, which appears to be the largest section, what is the parking for that? So these are 2-car garages. What's the length of the driveway, and then what is the additional parking?
The regulations that were placed on this PUD by planning says there cannot be any additional parking pads in the front yard, but you would be permitted to have 16-foot wide driveways, which would accommodate 2 cars in the driveway. And then I wouldn't imagine these houses would have less than a 2-car garage. So that would be 4 cars able to park on each lot.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Someone speaking?
Section 1 has how many bedrooms per house?
We don't know, but we would think 3 bedrooms.
You've already maxed out plus the numbers of parking spots because you've now got at least 5 cars.
I don't understand that comment. The required parking is 2 according to codes. We're providing twice that.
Codes
So
parking
in
is
any
insufficient for the lifestyles and the rental homes in Southeast Davidson County.
Yeah, so to Larry's point, if you guys like from a high level view look at our area, it's almost no one has only 3 cars or 2 cars for their units. A lot of the community or the areas within our community, like I can speak from my neighborhood alone, and the 3 homes that are across me are multi-generational homes. You got grandparents who are still driving, you have the children who are still driving, and then you got high school children who are also driving. And so what it ends up being is, to Larry's point, for these areas, because again, families are where this is a communal space, we have more parking than, or we have more vehicles than what is required for parking. And so we end up looking at a space that has, cars parked illegally because it's not enough or it's not appropriate space for them to park. And so that is Larry's point, if I'm not mistaken. And Larry, and I apologize if I am speaking over you or for you.
You are absolutely correct.
Um, let's see. I have some questions. So in this layout, there's areas that says park. Is that truly a park or a green space for the community, or is that just an addition of the water maintenance for stormwater?
Now, where it says park, that's a formal green space that can be used like a formal park. And then the other green space that isn't labeled park is open space. The areas to be used for stormwater are shown in blue.
Okay, so since this is a rather large community, is there like a playground or a park area that will be built for the community, within the community, I should say?
It would be maintained by the homeowners association, so I don't know how that would really work.
You see where the
But my
pointer is?
question is, so I understand that the homeowner.
I think you muted yourself, Deonte.
I might have lost him.
I'm sorry, I'm on my cell phone, and I accidentally hit a button, and I lost where my control panel was. So no, geez, I lost my train of thought trying to figure out how to get back in the call.
I can
About-
respond.
Say it one more time.
I can respond to that if you would like.
Oh, before you respond, I remember my point. So there's areas where in the past community spaces were built. Now I know it's the HOA responsibility to maintain that, but because of the number of homes that we are anticipating, as a council member, I think it'll be great to see a space that is actually a communal space for the community and not just, a blank or empty green space.
Okay, well, that's obviously something we can look at. We purposely designed this by spreading out the formal open space throughout the entire plan in smaller park areas, so it's easily accessible from every portion of the site. And it has about 30% open space when you look at the land area that's allocated, which exceeds the requirements. And then in the central part of the plan where the pointer is, that was an area that was designated for a play area, for playground equipment, for a kids area.
Okay.
Are any of those light green open spaces currently geological issues in terms of caves, unbuildable property, and things of that nature?
No, they're not. There are a couple of sinkholes on the property, but there's no steep slopes, there's no wetlands, there's no caves, there's no environmentally sensitive areas according to any of our studies or according to planning commission review of the plan. So the areas where we've got, I think, 2 sinkholes, we're using that for stormwater.
And those are where on your plan?
They are on the right side, right in that area, and then in the central area, right in that area.
Okay. So those are light green spaces as well. So they abut the sinkholes.
This is not a final detailed plan, it's a preliminary plan. I believe the blue area is where the sinkholes are. But we would have to come back if we were able to get zoning and do detailed engineering with detailed designs that would be reviewed by Metro's engineers to determine those things.
Deonte, that certainly raises uh, a yellow flag in my mind.
Noted. Noted. So I have a question regarding the studies that have been done. So I know that this is a older plan, or we started working on this a while ago. So since working on this, the NDOT studies have changed. Are you aware, or do you know if a multimodal study was done?
I know that we did everything that planning commission required us to do, and I know that there was probably a dozen engineers that reviewed this plan from Metro's process. We had stormwater engineers that reviewed it. They recommended approval. We had water system engineers reviewed it, recommended approval. Sanitary sewer engineers reviewed it, recommended approval. The public works engineers reviewed it, recommend approval. The traffic and parking engineers reviewed it, recommended approval. So we feel like we've covered every issue that Metro had any concern about through that process.
Okay,
Councilmember
that's
Harrell,
good to
this
know.
this
That's
Larry
good to
again.
know. And I will follow up with a few departments after our conversation.
Could we also get an update on the school impact?
Yeah, I can tell you that the Metro Planning Commission analyzed that at the time they looked at it. And they determined that under the existing zoning, there would be 4 students in elementary, 3 in middle, and 3 in high school. Under the projected zoning for the SP, 26 in elementary, 21 in middle school, and 17 in high school, which was an additional 54 students if the plan was approved. And it's in the area of Mount View Elementary, J.F. Kennedy Middle, Antioch High School. At that time, all 3 schools had plenty of capacity to accommodate the 54 student increase.
And just so that we're clear, you're saying out of these 220, 230 homes that there's a potential of 55 students.
A potential of 54 more students if it had developed under the existing zoning.
Can you hear us?
Okay, I'll follow up with our
Councilmember
school board
Harrell,
member
I think
regarding that.
I think since this was done by the Planning Commission 4 years ago, that should certainly be looked at again and updated.
Writing it down, Larry. Got it.
Thank you.
I will follow up with Cheryl Mays, our school board member. Apologize for the silence. I am in the chats currently. Okay, so I have a couple of responses. For Mrs. Atkinson, um, let's see. So this would provide the sidewalks, and from what they're projecting, this road is wider than the roads that are currently in our area. For this if they're doing the 50 foot. Um let's see, what else did I see? Um, I so Helena, I agree, and we are working on traffic infrastructure, and I can partner. We can converse after this, and I can give you some insight as far as what I'm working on. And but I do agree with our community. We understand our community because we're driving through it on a regular basis, and so traffic is important for us to figure out something regarding that. And I'm working on the green spaces. It's going to be different with this space. I can encourage them to add green spaces for the community, but if you're speaking in general, that will be a different conversation. Is there any more feedback or concerns? Okay. So I have taken your feedback. I will have a call with the team that's on the call currently, and we will discuss the concerns, and I will bring that information back, what comes out of that meeting. And Larry, I will be reaching out to you in regards to getting with Long Hunter, Somerset, and Kensal Green. Um, all right, so there's one other project that we're gonna discuss, and it's off. So this other project, again, it's a preliminary. It's a very early on conversation, but my want is that anytime that we have these conversations before it is done, or send it to planning, that you all hear what it is that the intent of the property owner is, and then we can, from a community standpoint, be involved and be engaged as they're coming up with their plans. The goal is for the community to be very active in this process, so that you don't feel that, hey, we're just throwing something in the community or throwing something on our folks. And so this is, again, it's a preliminary conversation, and if you guys are ready to share, go ahead.
Okay, this is on Laverne Couchville Pike, uh, at the intersection of Pinhook Road. The site has property on the east side of Laverne Couchville and property on the west side of Laverne Couchville. Over on the left side of the drawing, the adjacent lots there are a part of an existing developed community called Lakewood Village. Lakewood Village has 5,000 square foot lots that are 50 foot by 100 foot. And then on the bottom of the drawing, across Pinhook Road to the south, that existing neighborhood is Pepper Tree Forest. And it also has existing lots that are 50 foot wide, 100 foot deep, or 5,000 square foot lots. So this tract together has about 47 acres total. So on the east side of Laverne Council Pike, we're proposing 93 lots. And on the west side, we're proposing 110 lots, which would be a total of 203 lots. All of these lots would be 50-foot wide by 100-foot deep, or 5,000 square foot lots, which are the same size as the adjacent lots to the south and the adjacent lots to the west. Front setbacks would be 20 foot, side setbacks will be 5 foot on each side. Rear setback would be 20 foot if there's no adjacent buffer or open space. It would be 5 foot with adjacent open space and buffer areas. The perimeter of the design has a 20-foot wide buffer landscape strip around the property where we can. We've got some formal open space, park space, and then additional green open space on both sides of the road in both layouts. All these would be single family homes. They would all be for sale. So be glad to answer any questions you might have.
So I will add, so I have seen, or we discussed this, and I did ask them to bring this information to the community, but I also asked them to hold off as far as moving forward, because there's some conversations that I'm having with NDOT regarding this area. And out of a previous meeting that we had regarding the area, there were concerns that came out of that meeting that I wanted to address. And so again, it is preliminary, but my intent is, as I receive it, if it is something, that you all may have an appetite for, then I want you guys to know about it as soon as possible. And so this is a preliminary conversation. So I ask that everyone, please give your insight or your thoughts regarding how you feel about the project or what you would like to see done. All right, so Larry's question is, who will be developing this parcel? And then his other question is, how many homes and what is the anticipated price point?
Okay, Jason, I'll let you answer that.
As far as I can't really see the total lot count there because I'm on my phone.
203.
Okay. Well, this would be a partnership development between Old South and Mr. Schreibman. And price point, I'm going to say you're going to be, I'm going to say probably 350 to 365 at the cheapest, and probably going up to probably 475.
And are the 3-bedroom homes? What's the bedroom count?
They would be 2 and 3 bedroom.
All right. Any other questions from the community?
Any single-story homes? Are all these 3-story homes or any single-story homes?
They will be single and 2-story. Because we do have a lot of people request single-story homes these days that get tired of climbing the stairs.
Or is your development going to be responsible for getting the streets widened, sidewalks, and lights? Hobson Pike is very dark, so I don't know if you're going to help get that developed or how is that going to work?
We always install streetlights inside the subdivision, As far as out on the public road, that I'm sure NDOT will be the ones, and the councilman will address that.
Yeah, and that's part of the concern that we have for this area, which I didn't get the name of the community member who's made that comment. But you are right, and that is some of the concerns, um, which I can share. From a previous meeting, the concerns were lighting and an additional traffic signal somewhere in between the stretch to control the flow of traffic. Um, those would be issues that I work with NDOT on.
It was Carolyn Hatcher that asked those questions.
Okay, Miss Hatcher, I'm sorry. I didn't catch his name. I was too busy. I was listening and reading as it came through, but I missed your name.
He's trying to read, type, and talk.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Well, man, if there's no other questions, or any concerns, I will take, there are a lot of good information came out of this meeting. And, I do want people to know that, hey, that this is one of those projects that, I kind of inherited. And so, we're my goal is to work through the things that we can, and and just be very transparent with all parties as far as where we are. So thank you for your time tonight, and I will be in touch. Larry, I will shoot you an email in regards to meeting with the community in that area, with the different HOAs that will be nearest to this development.
Sure. Just to be clear, we talked about the two developments. Hobson Heights is all, they've already been approved by the planning commission, but not by council.
Correct.
The
Correct.
Pinhook has not yet submitted an application for rezoning. Am I correct?
Absolutely. That is correct.
Okay.
The application for Hobson Heights, it's essentially just waiting on me to confirm it and run the legislation on the floor. But because this is something that I was not there for the beginning, it had to come back to you all so that you can hear what's on the floor.
Yeah, there was strong community opposition, very strong. So
I appreciate you informing me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there any other questions or concerns? Okay, well, I thank everyone for taking the time out your evenings to attend. Um, just to give you guys a heads up, there is another meeting next Thursday, and we're gonna have, going forward, there's quite a few meetings coming up. We have a number of developments that are very early on, and then we will have a number of developments we've already met with, and they're circling back after receiving our community feedback. So you will be receiving emails with the flyers. The reminder will come out the day before, 24 hours before. But of course, our council office will be sending out the postcards as they come about as well. Again, thank everyone for attending, and if you have any issues, email me, text me, call me. I'm available.
We do appreciate the comments. It does give us some things to think about.
You guys have a great night. Rosie, you can stop the recording.
Bye-bye.